And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMV. Thanks a lot to Don Humberto Lopez celebrating 50 years of broadcasting. And let's not forget, we broadcast in San Antonio, Channel 23 on Time Warner, and also on YouTube and Facebook now. And you can go to youtube.com and just type in my name or South Texas Crossfire. And let's not forget, Dan and Dave at Real Simple Productions doing a great job out there. Without you guys, this would not be possible. With me today, I have affectionately known as Theo Todd to us here in the Latino community. Hey, welcome, Todd Hunter.
Good to see you, my
hey,
friend.
how are
Good
you?
to see
How
you.
are you? Well, we are excited. We're going to get a roundup, a Texas roundup, 81st legislature. You're going to let everybody out there know, you know, the big stuff. I know you're pushing for windstorm. I know you're pushing for health care, education. I mean, we're excited to have you on.
And you came up to Austin, so your listening audience knows, to help us on the healthcare
And
issue.
you came right out to meet me, personal touch. Let me tell you, that doesn't happen every day. All the nurses and the healthcare providers were so honored that you came out
good group.
off the floor. Off the
group.
floor. Busy as you were, you came out.
Anything for you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That means a lot to us. And that's what we're talking about. A lot of people say, well, if I go visit my representative, they won't see me or their staff won't see me. Let me tell you, open door policy
That's
up there.
exactly correct. Exactly. And you know, it's good you came up. It was a good session because you brought folks with you. And then that means not only our groups, but all the other legislators get to see that we have support for these issues. It makes a big deal.
It does. It does. And I know that you've been working hard nonstop up there. There's a lot of areas that we should cover. What would you like to talk about first? Stuff that you really prided yourself on working on in the legislature up there for us down here in South Texas?
Let's talk windstorm, because you and I talked about it last year. And it turned into be a fight, but it was a strange fight because people really believed in other parts of the state, these legislators, that we should have to pick up all the tabs and expenses because we live by the ocean.
I remember you telling us that.
And it was ridiculous and crazy, but you know what? It was real. And all the coastal folks came together, and not only just legislators, but all the communities, and we ended up winning in the end. But it shows you that different parts of the state, it's not, everybody always thinks it's a Republican Democrat or a Libertarian Independent. It's not that. It's regions of the state. And a lot of regions have different views. For example, I think we should be getting more help on our universities and colleges. I think that there should be more focus in South Texas for us. And a lot of times we have hurdles because the money goes to North Texas, not necessarily down to South. So it was an interesting lesson on when we come together as South Texas and Coastal Bend, we come together and we can win. But it really shows you got to come together as a region.
Well, let's break it down a little bit. When you said we come together as a region, what different people from different walks of life, everybody pays insurance who's a homeowner and has a condo, and everybody was worried, am I going to be covered? Or what if we have another repeat Katrina and we lose our homes? We don't have, and especially now with hurricane season well underway, and everybody's worried. What does that mean? And who are the people you talk to get your information, and what concerns were your constituents telling you about this?
Well, the big issue came off, the first argument was if you have a hurricane, all coastal residents should be the ones that pay.
Oh.
Now that's crazy. We don't go up and say, hey, tornadoes happen in North and West Texas, you all should pay.
Exactly.
And they wanted to go any place from 40 to 50% increase on our insurance policies. Well, nobody could afford that.
I mean, we're drowning as it is.
They also wanted to put a law in that said that if you own or sell real estate, that during hurricane season for 6 months, you can't purchase or sell real estate. Well, now, things like this make no practical sense. But people in other regions think that because if they look at that water and they've watched, all these other storms and they think responsibility should be there. My point was, don't set a bad precedent. Let's not start creating laws that just affect these areas of the state. If you're going to create laws, do it for everybody. And in the end, the coastal residents, our coastal areas came together, all 14 counties. We came from the valley all the way up to northeast Texas, and our area worked together. And we educated folks on the importance of the coast and that we're one state. And that theme resonated, and in the end, we did well.
Well, that's fantastic. And the bottom line on that legislation, then, all of those other things, just to clarify for the people out there, the can't sell real estate for 6 months,
right.
50% increase, all that failed because of your efforts.
Well, I'm going to say it was our people.
Your people.
You know, I like that a lot of folks have given me credit, but it was, when I say us, it's the coastal band. All our folks, you're viewing on, we all came together. So I give the credit for defeating these bad ideas and coming up with good laws to our community, because we had people coming up to Austin, talking down here, came together. So it was an example, kind of like for UCC, when we all came together as a community to get the university. The hurricane and the windstorm laws, I looked the same way. The communities all came together with their public officials, and that's how we got good along.
And did you have some town hall meetings, or how did that evolve on the windstorm? Because it's a big deal. A lot of people out there are going him and hawing, but ladies and gentlemen out there, the windstorm issue is critical.
Big time.
You know, it affects us, and half the year we're nail biting, worrying about hurricanes and floods, and hurricanes are getting stronger, and we're worrying about that. And so when you had this, were there town hall meetings, or what did you do?
We did some town hall meetings. I will give credit to a lot of the local chambers of commerce. You had your Corpus Christi chamber, your Hispanic chamber here that were involved. I know the Ingleside chamber was involved. You ended up having Aransas Pass, Rockport chambers were involved, Calhoun County, many of the San Patricio counties, the county judges of my 4 counties were involved, and then it expanded to the Valley. We had Valley folks for South Padre. Cameron County were coming up supporting us. And then all of a sudden, the Galveston area came in. So it was a great way of getting 14 counties of folks coming together, talking the same lingo, and educating the state of Texas on why the coastline is there and it's a good place to live.
You know, we brought on Mayor White a couple of weeks ago from Houston, Texas, and he said the same thing. And he said this wasn't a bipartisan issue per se. I mean, rather, it wasn't a Republican. It was everyone coming together. It wasn't politics.
Correct. It wasn't a partisan deal. It was everybody coming together. And as you know, Bill had to oversee everything in Houston when the big storm came in. So he had direct knowledge. But everybody was there, and it really, really was good. Gives you a good feeling. And, you know, as a public official, it's great to stand up when you've got all your folks with you.
Well, that's exactly right. And if it wasn't just for a little fraction there, it was going to hit us smack dab.
That's exactly right.
And I remember my wife on her home health and all these other home health owners and nursing homes and healthcare providers, they had to get their patients out because they didn't want to see a repeat Katrina happen. Better safe than sorry. And my hats were off to the local officials here at that time that got everybody out, and it was organized chaos, loading everybody up, and everybody did their own thing, took them up to San Antonio. And I tell you what, and when people come together, just wonderful things happen, and I was glad to have him on to get that perspective. I'm glad you're here on that, because right now, it's hurricane season. What do you have for advice or input, or just to let the constituents out there know about hurricanes and what all this legislation on windstorm means for them?
Well, for everybody that's watching, we have a couple of things everybody needs to know. Under the new law, which is very, very good for us, we are going to change the board. And as you and I had talked about a year ago, the insurance companies had made up the windstorm board. They were the majority. And we changed the law so it's going to switch so that the consumers and the agents are the majority on the board. So that when rate issues come up, it won't necessarily be just the insurance companies making the decision. The majority will be in the